Hey guys, LQ here with the LQ Review, and I'm here with another movie review. This movie review is for Jordan Peele's second movie, Us. Yes, Us is his follow-up to Get Out. I didn't love Get Out as a horror movie. I loved it as like this horror comedy, like a dark comedy that had some social commentary where the story came before the social commentary, but the social commentary was incredibly relevant. I really liked Get Out. Us wasn't as good as Get Out. So I'm going to talk about the good, I'm going to talk about the bad, and then I'm going to give it my rating. So let's talk about the good first. Lupita Nyong'o. Oh my gosh. She is great in this movie. Now, I got introduced to her through Star Wars. She plays Maz Kanata in Star Wars. And, okay, good voice actor, not bad. And then, what was that movie? The Queen of Katwe, I think it was, the Disney movie. I saw that and she was great in it. Just absolutely great in it. And then we saw Black Panther. She was fantastic in that. She is a rising star. And I think in some circles she already is that star. She's great. And I really enjoyed her performance. The movie is a lot about duality, and most of the actors in this movie had to portray two characters. Her character portrayal of Adelaide and as the tethered Red, just can't say enough good stuff about it. She was fantastic in this movie. As Red, as the tethered, it was just unsettling. It was incredibly unsettling, her performance. So yeah, can't say enough great things about it. Winston Duke was great. I like the fact that they kind of made Winston Duke like this Clark Griswold type character out on vacation and just kind of bumbling, kind of just your typical middle class American dad. And I love that about it. His voice even sounded a lot like some of Jordan Peele's characters in the Key and Peele show, where he would be imitating a white guy. It was really funny, and it was on the point. It was on the nose for what they were trying to get. Winston Duke had a great performance, and then his performances as Tethered was a little more subdued. It was a little more physical. Not quite, not nearly as vocal, obviously, but it was much more subdued. The first act was great. So the first act, you had this fantastic build up, this fantastic rising tension, and we were kind of figuring everything out as the main characters were figuring everything out, and the rise in tension was really, again, it was unsettling. I know I'm going to use that word again. It was very unsettling to see what this family was going through, and then when their doppelgangers came in and invaded their home, that was uncomfortable to watch. It was uncomfortable to watch the initial home invasion, and then to learn kind of what was happening. All of it was very unsettling. The first act was phenomenal. It set up the story, built that tension, and then they just weren't able to bring it home. But we'll talk about that in a minute. The film's construction was fantastic as well. A lot of the film was told in flashbacks, and we learned a lot of key facts at the exact moments, precise moments when we had to learn those facts. And it kept us in the dark on many things until we needed to be in the dark, or until we needed to know the truth. So I really liked the film's construction. Unfortunately, a lot of the moves were telegraphed, and I knew, it was pretty obvious to me what was going to happen before it happened. Now, there's also this really phenomenal angle that I wish they would have explored more than they did. This is a movie that has a lot of social commentary, and one angle on it was nature versus nurture. What happens if two people who are exactly the same end up switching spots at a young age? And one side would have been oppressed, the other side would have had all the opportunities in the world. What happens if they switch sides at a young age? How are they going to turn out? Very much a nature versus nurture type story, and I really dug that angle of it, and they didn't explore it nearly enough. They were too busy focusing on the oppressed and the oppressed rising up. And that was nowhere near as interesting of an angle as the nature versus nurture angle. So let's talk about the bad. Okay. I don't know if you can call this movie a sophomore slump because so many people like it, but I think it's getting some serious free passes. And let's talk about that. When the movie got bigger, when we realized that there was more going on than just this family, things fell apart. Everything fell apart. And I'm going to try to go as little spoiler here as possible, but everything fell apart when it got beyond the family because it stopped making sense. And I understand the idea that they were saying if the oppressed is united and works together, that they can rise up and revolt and defeat their oppressors. I get that. That is the social comedy. That is the social commentary that Jordan Peele was going for, and it was on the nose. You couldn't miss it. But the problem is that the story stopped making sense. How would the scenario that they give to us in this movie ever be possible? I'll tell you, it wouldn't. There's no scenario ever that this would be possible. Even in the scenario that they gave us, even in the world that they presented us, it just wasn't possible. We're talking about 300 plus million. And you know what? Screw it. This is a spoiler review. We're talking about 300 plus million tethered, living underground. Living underground, eating rabbits. The idea of that is preposterous. It would never work. So Jordan Peele definitely concocted a story around the social commentary that he wanted to tell. And it doesn't work when you do that. Story has to come first. Story has to come first. And this story did not come first. The social commentary came first. So he created a story that was fun to watch. I got to admit that while I was watching the movie, I was having a good time watching it. But when I left the movie, and I start thinking about it, the whole thing falls apart. The movie doesn't work on any single level whatsoever. You can poke holes into it so easy, and then the whole thing just falls apart. This, as a movie, as a story, as a narrative, does not work. As social commentary, if somebody would say, well, here's a scenario for you, blah, 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 it works then as social commentary. But that's the only thing it works as, and it's getting a free pass because of the social commentary in the movie. As a narrative, as a story, it does not work. There are more plot holes in this movie than I can possibly name. So I'm not going to even try. The twist was telegraphed a mile away. I called it 15 minutes into the movie that they switched at a young age. Adelaide and Red switched at a young age. Anybody with any kind of deciphering skills when it comes to narratives, they're going to pull that out within the first 15 minutes or so. It was obvious. Now, there's one twist that it wasn't so obvious, and they kind of left it open-ended. Was the son switched at a younger age also? And we really don't know the answer to that. They definitely left that very open-ended. And they also left the ending open-ended. You know, does mankind put down the violent oppressed that's rising up, or do the violent oppressed rise up and take over humanity, or is there some sort of middle ground where they learn to live together? They don't offer any explanations to that. But this movie is very much about the oppressed gaining power, and when the oppressed are holding hands in unity, they can defeat their oppressors, and they can get the equality that they're looking for. It was very much on the nose, to the point where they were doing the holding hands across America. It was too much on the nose for me. And the passage that keeps coming up in the movie, Jeremiah 11:11, this idea of bringing disaster to mankind. And I don't know. The social commentary didn't work. I respect what he was trying to say, but it all fell apart for me because the narrative didn't work. Sure, let me rewind. The social commentary worked fine. It was very much on the nose, but it worked fine. That being said, the narrative didn't work because there were plot hole upon plot hole upon plot hole that was too easy to see through. And it didn't bother me until after the movie, but after the movie it bothered me bad. The movie did a great job of setting up that tension. So during the movie, I was into it. But then I thought about it and I was like, that was stupid. That was stupid. And it was. It was stupid. So, I like Get Out, but in Get Out, the narrative came before the social commentary, and that was what he missed here. That's what Jordan Peele missed here, was that the commentary came before the narrative, and the whole narrative fell apart. It was really fun to watch it unfold, but unfortunately, upon any kind of further examination, this is a movie that does not hold up and will not hold up. And I understand that it's got like a 95% on Rotten Tomato. I'm in the minority here, and that's fine, but I think it's getting a free pass because of its commentary. I really do. I really do. I think that there's too much in this movie that doesn't work, and there's missed opportunities. Like I said, the real opportunity was the nature versus nurture angle that they just chose to ignore. So there it is. This is a very meh movie for me. It's okay. Wasn't good. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. It was very meh. So I'm LQ at the LQ Review. That was my review for Us. How much do you hate me for not giving this a glowing review? Let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, thank you for being here.